get their feet wet and get into the process with as little friction as humanly possible when it comes to making that pre-construction decision. The current ecosystem of pre-construction purchase, if you're looking outside of the platform, is very disconjointed. There's many different individual players in place, and oftentimes buyers will get confused, they'll get scrambled, they might not know which person to connect with, or even if they do know where to connect, they might have a problem where they'll hear 10 different answers to the same question. And this oftentimes leads to confusion, frustration, and not knowing what the truth might be when it comes to making the right decisions. So what we've created is a platform where we essentially help each and every one of our buyers process a transaction, or process even just the decision-making process in a seamless manner. And we partner with various different strategic partners, essentially, to make this process as seamless as possible. So as I mentioned, what we do is we create this frictionless experience for each individual that's on the platform, so that they can go through the platform, look at all the projects that are in the market, in actually Canada at the moment. They can go through a pre-approval process with our collaboration with RBC directly on the platform, and they can even go as far as actually selecting a unit, picking which view they're interested in, and starting the checkout process or the worksheet process directly on the platform itself. Now we'll dive into a little bit of a demo of how the actual site works afterward. But before that, I'm going to let Jana just say a few things about the finance side of things.
Thanks, Alex. So, of course, before getting started, Alex touched a little bit about this. Of course, we need to talk about what are your goals, what are your objectives, what do you want to do with this property? Are you looking to keep it long term and rent it out? Or are you buying this property now to, let's say, get it for your kids? Or we have to make sure that we have that objective in mind. Of course, that's where I come into place. We've got to find out what we can afford. We do look at it as if we were running a business, because ultimately having a rental property or an investment property is like running a business. And you have to take into account what your expenses are, of course, and plus what you're going to be making on the property. The other thing that I always like to tell my clients when they're looking to get into an investment property is know what the landlord and tenant laws are. You don't need to go into depth with this, but at least know what you're liable for as a landlord and what your tenants are liable for as well. Of course, when you're getting an investment property, you're not going to be having your taxes done regularly. You'll be having now probably taxes done with that investment property in mind. And then lastly, of course, know what your exit strategy is. So, are we looking, like I said, to keep this that's going to be long-term, or are you looking to get out of this much quicker? So those are kind of the things that I have in conversations with clients when we're looking at investment properties. Now, why RBC is so great with the recon side is we have a fantastic RBC builder program. I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but we actually do firm approvals on pre-cons up front. So that means we do the credit check, we do employment verifications, income. We also have specific appraisers that will actually go and appraise these builder deals, because we understand, of course, they're not built yet, but we have a specific team that knows how to actually handle that as well. And of course, the biggest thing all clients ask, we do have extended rate commitments until closing. So the way it is, let's say your condo is closing in 5 years from now, we'll actually hold that rate for our clients till then. And then at time of closing, we'll see which one's better. Is it the rate that we have, that we've held for you, or is it the one that we're getting you at that time? Historically, what we've seen in any of my builder deals that are closing right now, the rates before were fantastic. So a lot of our clients have actually been so appreciative that they've gotten that approval up front because they've gotten fantastic rates compared to what the market's looking at right now. Also with RBC, what makes us different is that we have specialty lending options as well. So we have options for self-employed, of course, investors, clients who are new to Canada, maybe don't have their full income potential done yet. We have programs for them. We also do micro suites as well. I believe we'll go up to a minimum of 450 square feet. And then condo hotels, so the beach where there might be a portion that's living, but also where you might be able to also have a hotel part of that as well. And then of course we have personalized advice and tailored financing. And then we have insurance coverage. So this is a great option for a lot of times for getting pre-construction. We will actually get you the mortgage insurance, and your clients don't have to actually pay for it now. They'll actually pay for it at the time of funding, but if anything were to happen to you while you purchase that, we'll actually cover that for you, as long as you qualify. Now, how RBC will approve you for your investment property, we use standard income verification as well as those programs that I told you about. You have to put 20% down, which is standard across all lenders. But unless you are looking to limit a portion of it, you could put a minimum of 5%. Our portfolio currently allows 5 rental properties, but on an exception basis, we've been able to go up to 8. Personally, that's what I've done. And then we'll use 80% of market rents. I know a lot of other lenders don't use that, but we'll go up to 80% of market rents. And then Alex, you want to go ahead?
Yes, awesome. Thank you, Gina. So now we're going to jump into a little bit of an understanding of how we analyze properties and how we make comparisons between them to really find the right fit based on your strategy and your timeline. So just as a little bit of a macro overview, why real estate is such a popular investment vehicle. When you take a look at it comparatively to really almost any asset class of investments, real estate tends to outperform. So one of the other really leading kind of blue chip, high quality investments that is available is investing in a stock market, or the S&P 500 specifically, which is essentially an aggregate of the top 500 companies that are listed in the New York Stock Exchange. Now, if you had done so about 20 years ago, took $100,000 and put that money into the stock market as well as into the real estate market, your money would have actually performed very similarly. You would have about 286% return in the stock market, which is fantastic. And in the real estate market, you would have had over 350% return. Now, one thing to keep in mind that's really kind of just at the surface, that's assuming that you had bought your house with cash, $100,000 20 years ago. But the beauty of real estate is the ability to actually use something called leverage, which Jana just spent quite a little bit of time introducing you about when it comes to mortgages. So when you take that 1 to 5 mortgage, or you put 20% down towards that rate, your actual real estate returns are over $1.4 million. And so this just gives you a little bit of a sampling of why real estate really is such a true, strong investment option that everyone should be considering. Now, so how do we analyze the deals? We like to look at a few different metrics that really help standardize and compare properties, even if they're in completely different jurisdictions. With our modeling, you're essentially able to compare something that's in BC, Toronto, or Halifax, all with 1 or 2 simple numbers. The first one being the rental yield. A rental yield is essentially an annual rental rate that we calculate that we divide by the sales price. And this really allows you to compare apples to apples when it comes to rental property pricing as well as rental rates. Again, across various different price points and locations. And now the other one that we use, which is something that's a little bit more driven towards people that might be looking at flipping or looking at the appreciation of a property, is your return on investment. The return on investment being essentially your net return, or how much the property appreciates once you sell it, divided by your deposit, and then we multiply it by 100 just to get those percentage. So now, when it comes to timing, real estate's slightly about timing, although the old adage of it's best to buy real estate and wait as opposed to waiting to buy real estate always does hold true. And especially now that seems to really be kicking into gear. So we've seen, essentially, we had a peak where demand had dropped off, right? Where the market about 2-3 months ago was quite slow. Things weren't really moving. There was buyers were able to pick up properties up bidding wars, which was really nice and kind of refreshing, right? But essentially, in the past 6 to 8 weeks, we've seen all of that wiped out in the general markets of the GTA, with pricing really coming back strong. So the idea of timing the market is a challenge, and what we always recommend is just get yourself in the market whenever that time really suits best for you, and you've got all your ducks in a row when it comes to your financing, finding the right properties, and your right investment strategies. Now, a couple other factors that really drive Canadian real estate is the fundamentals here are incredibly strong. And just a couple of variables that we look at to analyze that. We've got extremely high immigration with over 500,000 people projected to come into this country each and every year. And oftentimes that does actually aggregate into the big cities, so think of Toronto or Calgary or Vancouver, right? And then we also have tremendous job growth with a lot of the newcomers that are coming to the country having really strong IT jobs or IT experience, healthcare, etc. So now, where do you find these great opportunities, right? This is part of the reason why our platform has been created. We have essentially created a tool that makes it seamless for you to find the right property. And what we're going to do is actually do a quick demo and show you just how simple it is to run a decision actually through the entire platform. So off our home screen, if you wanted to do this at home later today, it's super simple. You can actually just hit the Get Started button. And from here, it directs you towards a questionnaire. Now, this questionnaire isn't just a questionnaire that gets punched in and our agents are able to help reach out to you. This questionnaire is actually designed to take some of the details that you put in, and through our machine learning models, it'll be able to spit out some solutions and answers towards making better recommendations. And what you'll see as soon as our internet connection works here is that we are then able to actually provide a few different potential properties that are based off that initial questionnaire basis that you provided us. This one's there.
Oh my God. It's not working. What is going on?
And so our internet connection is a little wonky. Essentially, what we are able to do on this platform is you go through the questionnaire. There's questions that ask and prompt based on where you are in the decision-making process. And that allows us to create a profile for you that then provides recommendations such as this page here. So depending on the location or the type of product you're looking to make a purchase with, whether it's, for example, a condo, or it's a low-rise building, or a high-rise, we're able to analyze and make those predictions for you. All the while, you can actually do your own research within the platform. And the nice thing is, if you take a look at a project, such as, for example, we're going to go with the Bridge House, the Dean in Oakville, you're able to actually take a look at all the details that are available for the project. We do a really good job of actually keeping the inventory completely up to date as well. So you're able to get a description idea of the building. There's details on the assignments and incentives that are usually given towards buyers. These incentives are critical because oftentimes these little packages help make a property from an investment perspective really quite lucrative, but also from a perspective of when actually are planning to move into the property. They do help with also closing costs and just getting a better idea in terms of your options and flexibility if you choose before the property has its final closing, to, for example, lease it out or sell it or move it, of course. Anyway, so all details are outlined, including possession dates, the height of the building, types of layouts that are available to you. Now, if you as a buyer like what you see, you can register for the show intent, or you can actually start the process of filling in a worksheet. And a worksheet, for those that might not be aware of the pre-construction space, is essentially like the first step of an offer. So there's really no commitments or anything like that, other than you're just essentially raising your hand and saying, hey, I'm interested in this type of property. Can you please take a look into it and get in touch with me based on what I'm looking at? So I'm going to be saying that I'm going to be looking at a 1-bedroom plus den. I'll pretend that I'll be looking to make a purchase at the Dean Farmhouse. Now, when I select the 1-bedroom plus den filter, I'm then given a few of the options that are available to me. And I'm going to look at this per net option. And if I want to do a deeper dive into the floor plan, I can load it up and I can review all the details. And again, the beauty of the platform is if at any point you feel like there's maybe questions you might have, you don't need to follow through this entire worksheet process, but our agents will be able to reach out to you and be able to accommodate and answer questions that you might have, such as, oftentimes questions come up about what these lines might be here, whether this furniture comes with the property, or what's the best view to have if I'm looking to try to look towards the lake, or anything along those lines. So I'm going to select the Burnett unit as an option and click continue. I'll be looking, I'm going to say in the middle of the building. And then in terms of preference for exposure, just I'm looking at an investment property, so I'll take any. Or I'm going to select west, north, and southwest. Oops, and I'll hit continue. And now this prompts us into our checkout portal. So for any property purchase, of course, you need some personal details. So to do that here, I'm going to pretend like I am a fool. Punch in my details. And what we also do is we provide with your phone number and your email address, actually being able to create an account and check back in at any point. So even if you spend a little bit of time and then maybe you're not entirely sure of how far you want to get with a reservation, you can always go back and reinvigorate this afterward. So I'm just punching in some details. Birth date. So the point being that the reservation process can be taking place completely online. And the beauty of this is, again, it allows you to have a central hub that you can always refer back to. It also provides you an ability that if you get stuck with any questions, our agents are able to actually help and facilitate this process through the back end. Now, once this reservation takes place, or even if you stop, we're also able to connect you with our collaboration at RBC, so a mortgage broker, that can then help you with the finance side of these things, right? So they'll help you analyze for example, the mortgage options that are best available to you based on your financial situation, as well as your availability. So now what we get is, so Bill's just going to have to verify the account, which we send a text message to his phone number. And this makes sure that you're obviously getting the right information, that your profile is the correct one. We also do this for security reasons. Perfect, and now you get a welcome screen, essentially congratulations. Now, the worksheet is the first step for you as a buyer in terms of the platform. From there, you'll actually have to verify your ID. So we use a third-party source that is essentially the industry leader in terms of security, where you're able to verify your driver's license or your passport. And what this does is it's a requirement that the builder actually has from all purchasers, just to verify themselves from an identity perspective. And then in this space, you can actually use it as almost like a hub for yourself, or a management center for a potential purchase that you're making. You have the option to upload documents such as a mortgage pre-approval, or if we get into a very competitive market for condos, you can upload a picture of your bank draft that's directed towards the builder as well. And that's something that is often recommended from a competitive advantage perspective. Now we also have a bunch of questions that are outlined here that, of course, before you reach out to an agent or agent will send it to you, you'll be able to review it and have the questions answered for you. So that's essentially how simple it is to use our platform. It is even easier when the internet connection is proper, I can assure you that. And thank you so much for your time, everybody. Jump back